Hello and welcome to the Intel Graphics Performance Analyzer's Deep Dive Graphics Trace Analyzer video series. This video will take a deeper look into analyzing selected events in Graphics Trace Analyzer to begin profiling and pinpointing performance issues in your applications. While analyzing trace data, it's imperative to first isolate problem areas in your application using a high-level overview, but then dive deep into the details to inspect the issue in depth. In Graphics Trace Analyzer, there are two mechanisms for doing that: data selection and zooming. To zoom, hold down your control button while moving your mouse wheel. For data selection, there are three different types you can use to inspect your data further: rectangular selection, single selection, and range selection. Trace files contain performance events of varying characteristics and have specific data associated with corresponding event types. All selected events are grouped together by this event type. There are a few different types of performance events that are contained in Graphics Trace Analyzer. Queued packages, which show the lifetime of render command buffers until they are executed on the GPU. Regions show logical application execution blocks defined with the Intel ITT API or Graphics Debug API. Markers display timestamps that are either globally or process defined. Metrics show user-enabled CPU or GPU metrics enabled through System Analyzer or Graphics Monitor. With the most frequently used selection type, rectangular selection, you can select multiple events from multiple tracks in the timeline over a specified duration. To use rectangular selection, left-click on your mouse at the point you want to start your selection, and simply drag your mouse to an ending point for that selection. All events intersected by the rectangular selection are included in the selection. With the rectangular selection active, you can press the tabs at the bottom of the tool to see the various aggregated summary tables of the events in the rectangular selection. Note that the Selected Items tab includes all events from the other tabs. You can disable or enable this tab in Settings by pressing the cogwheel button in the upper right of the tool and toggling the Aggregated Selection Summary on or off. Aside from the Selected Items tab, you will have 1, 2, 3, or 4 tabs, depending on your trace data and the event you have selected, with each tab corresponding to one of the 4 different event types: packages, regions, markers, and metrics. In the Packages tab, you can view all the queued packages of your selected zone of the timeline in its aggregated summary table. The Regions and Markers tabs both contain events, the difference being that the events in the Regions tab have duration. In the Regions tab, you can view all API calls and debug regions. In the Markers tab, you can see all process events, those local to a thread, globally defined events, and user-defined events. In the Metrics tab, you can see details of all captured metric samples. Each of these 4 tabs contains an aggregated summary table with slightly different items in each. You should note that only enabled data will show in these tables. For example, if you had not enabled any of the Metrics tab would not show. Each of these tables has 3 views. The first view provides a list of all selected events aggregated by name. The second view provides all unique instances of the event that was selected in the first view, and the third view provides details of the event instance that was selected in the second view. For example, in the Packages Aggregated Summary table, you can view the names of the selected events, the visibility of the selected timeline tracks, the selected track names, the number of events with the same name in the selected tracks, and the sum of the event durations in the selected tracks. The items in the summary are initially sorted by the duration column, but this can be altered by pressing the name of the column you want to sort by. You can change whether the column is sorted by ascending or descending order by simply clicking the column name. Columns sorted in ascending order are indicated by an up arrow next to the column name, and alternatively, columns sorted in descending order are indicated by a down arrow next to the column name. You can rearrange the column order by simply clicking a column name and holding down your left mouse button to drag that column to different positions in the summary table. To resize each column, click on the control boundary next to the column name and drag the column until it is resized to your liking. To customize the displayed columns, click on the gear icon and press the toggle button next to the column name to enable or disable that column. Hovering over the events in the Packages Aggregated Summary table will highlight the corresponding events in the timeline track. Selecting a package in View 1 of the Aggregated Summary table will open the Itemized Summary table, View 2, displaying performance information for that selected package. Note that here you can see the chosen package's execution time and wait time, as well as the package's lifetime. Hovering over and selecting events in this second view works similarly as in the first view. To deselect all selected items, simply click anywhere on the timeline and your selected items will be deselected. To select items using single selection, left-click on an event in the timeline and the event will be selected. To select more than one event, hold down the Control button and click on the additional events you want to select. Once your events are selected, you can analyze them further in the different Performance Events tabs. Using range selection, you can select all events over a time range in the timeline, including tracks that are not visible in the timeline. To use range selection, right-click in the timeline at the point you want to start your range selection, and then drag your mouse horizontally to an ending point for the range selection. You can then change the selection by dragging the left or right boundary. While changing the selection, you can click on the boundary and drag your mouse along the vertical range boundary, up or down, and an attach indicator will show up. The attach indicator aids in properly aligning range boundaries with regions or tasks residing under the mouse cursor. Clicking on any appropriate tab, you can view the visibility of your selected items notated by an eye icon when your track is visible in the timeline, and a slashed eye icon when your track is not visible in the timeline. You can press the slashed eye icon to open the track in the timeline. Graphics Trace Analyzer supports cross-track dependencies, and when enabled, allows you to select all dependent events at once. To turn on cross-track dependencies, click on the cogwheel in the top right corner of the tool, and then press the toggle button next to the cross-track dependency option. You can visualize this by selecting a render package in the timeline of the context queue, and the corresponding render package in the 3D GPU queue will be selected as well. You can also visualize this by opening the Packages tab, and both render events in the context and 3D GPU queues are displayed in the aggregated summary table and can be further explored. In addition to the selection, zooming, and cross-track dependency visualization features, Graphics Trace Analyzer supports two more mechanisms that can help you gain insight into your data: the ability to switch queue stack order top to bottom or bottom to top, and the ability to create a background highlight of selected items. Press the cogwheel to go into the settings of the tool, then, to switch queue stack order, press the toggle button next to the bottom-up queues option, allowing you to focus on the details you most need to see at the moment. To enable background highlighting, press the toggle button next to the Highlight Selection option. This feature is most suitable when used with single selection, but it can be used with all three selection methods. If you're interested in learning more about how to identify and analyze problem areas in your applications to distribute workloads evenly across CPUs and GPUs, continue watching our Graphics Trace Analyzer Deep Dive video series, as well as our quick tip and other helpful videos. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for new exciting GPA updates and get started optimizing your games today.